social media and the power of a great marketing strategy. You can market yourself into the mind of any consumer, right? And so as a sneaker brand that once was in the game in a major way, you may have fallen out in say the mid 2000s, right?
I was
The
gonna
early
say, Sykes.
2000s.
Remember, they were like the ultimate underground sneaker brand, right?
Yeah,
Like they were
like
the ultimate
they had a whole
underground brand.
basketball tour and everyone loved it. Like, you know what I mean? Like that was a really big thing. And one was a really big deal
And
for
they
a
call
lot
it
of
N1. And for the concept of mixtapes that exist on social media, the N1 was the origin of that. They literally had VHS tapes that they would get like they would sell to people of like, check out these basketball games when people like doing all these crazy dunks and crazy crossovers at Rucker Park and everything, and it blew up into an entire brand.
they had a whole video game. Like that's how
Yes,
that's
exactly.
how big it was. And so yeah, like they had their falling out and now they're back and they believe that because of again the power of social media, maybe it doesn't get that big again, but they have a chance to tap into that history again and push it forward. And that's why we're seeing so many of these brands kind of reemerge and jump back into the game to bring it full circle, is because like everyone has this ability. Like everyone saw what the Ball family did. Everyone's seeing what Spencer Dinwiddie is doing right now with his own basketball brand,
Right.
and they're trying to push that forward.
And I was waiting. Hold on. He
Hello,
said
hello,
he's in
hello,
here. There
hello.
he
Can
is.
y'all hear me?
Come
Yep.
on, look who
Yes,
decided to show up
yeah,
for work.
we're finally here. An hour and a half of being in a first world problem with no internet. We're officially here. Michael, what's up? I'm Martin Pape, the co-host of this thing. You guys have been going, I believe, for like 30 minutes now. How's it going?
Yeah, I'm good, man. What up?
No, not much. I'm not gonna call the internet company out by name, but apparently they sent the email
They
out.
have stadium rights names. They have stadium rights names, just so you know.
I'm not sure, but
No,
yeah.
they
So
do.
they do.
It's that's if I say the stadium, it'll give it away.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Apparently,
on the
apparently
West
they
Coast.
sent out an email saying that this was a whole week's worth, and today was just my day. But it is what it is. We're here. I'm already a beer in, so the stream is up on twitch.tv/Broke Boys Sports. I've already checked. The audio is working. I had you guys going
Yes, we're not
before.
muted. Let's
Yes,
go.
I'm recording on it. Everything is good to go except your boy is an hour late. So yeah, there we go. I think I
And
joined the call when you guys were talking about and one, and I remember when I first moved to America back in like the '90s, and that was like when it first started to like be a thing. And like I still remember I can't remember the announcer's name, but like the way he would say like the nicknames and stuff like that, I that was probably my favorite part about N1.
he was on the court with the towel to wipe the
Yes,
sweat off his brow with the hat on and everything like
he was
that.
the
And he had all
ultimate
the
hype
he
man.
had all the jokes. All the jokes. He's like, yeah, man, you put your shot in a blender. I remember that from the video game. Just trash talking the hell out of you, man.
So good.
Also, side note, the Clips just beat the Mavs, so
Man.
that actually helps out the Rockets and the Thunder. That gives them right now a 2-game cushion because the Mavs were 1 game behind in the 5th seed for the NBA. The Thunder and the Rockets are currently tied for for the 5th seed, and the Jazz, I guess, is a perfect segue. We're talking about give an update on the NBA as of right now in the bubble, and things are getting weird because now we got to start when we start doing math on a regular basis. That's when things get weird. And right now, we're doing a lot. We're doing a little too much math. I'm not gonna lie, because we're sitting here. We're talking about ties. We're talking about potential tiebreakers determining who gets what seed. The Jazz announced earlier today, not announced, but the Jazz put their injury report out. They're sitting 4 starters tomorrow. Russell Westbrook is not playing tonight. LeBron is not playing tonight. Or is it tomorrow? I think it's tomorrow when the Rockets play the Lakers. There will be no Westbrook and there will be no LeBron in that game. So it's getting weird. Sykes, what you been looking at besides the Wizards and all of
Man,
their young kids?
I have been really following this race for the 8th seed. in the West, and I'm looking at the score now, seeing that the Blazers are actually kind of pulling away from the Nuggets right now. The Grizzlies have lost 4 straight.
They are the Memphis Grizzlies are the saddest story in the entire NBA bubble.
Yeah.
They came out of the gates. Ja Morant was looking spectacular, looking like eventually he will be named Rookie of the Year. There's no question that he was Rookie of the Year. He will be named Rookie of the Year and be watching the playoffs because the Grizzlies don't have it anymore. Whatever they had throughout the course of the season, they lost it on the flight to Orlando because they are winless in the bubble. And on top of that, it's like some of them are close, and then some of them are just like didn't show up. Not even not showing up, because not showing up is insulting to what they're doing, because they're still scoring over 100 points a game. They're just not keeping pace with NBA teams. And then Jared Jackson Jr., who was the guy who got there before Ja Morant, and a lot of people had big aspirations for him because he was a 3-level scorer as a center, and you got to love that. And he's out for the season. So if it wasn't the not winning wasn't getting to you mentally, the not having your partner in crime for Ja Morant definitely has to be holding them back from any kind of future success. And it's gonna be sad to watch him slip away, because tonight it looks like it's gonna be the night they lose the AC.
Did y'all see the poll that somebody put out saying who would you rather start your franchise with, Ja or Zion? And Ja was the one that won the poll. I can't remember who put it out. I want to say it was hold on, let me find it. But I think it was like, it ended up being like 54% Morant and then the other percent to Zion. And I was honestly
By the way,
surprised.
Ja and Zion hate that.
Really?
People, they're from, they used to play on the same AAU team.
Right.
So they're like real cool with each other. They hate that everyone will not shut up about comparing them to each other, because they're from the same town, they're from the same city, they have all the same friends, they are cool with each other, and people keep trying to make it seem like it's him versus him, and they don't like that. Like, that's their biggest gripe about being in the NBA. People trying to turn friends against friends. And they had this situation, Sykes can talk about this, Bradley Beal versus John Wall. Bradley Beal drove John Wall to, was his grandmother's funeral overnight or whatever?
His mom's funeral.
His mom's funeral.
Yeah.
Bradley Beal drove John Wall to his mom's funeral overnight, and people are still out here trying to perpetuate this idea that like they don't like each other. Yeah. Yeah. So
that was crazy.
Yeah, sorry. We're talking about the 8th seed in the West right now, tentatively being held by the Memphis Grizzlies. It seems like it's all but a done deal that the Portland Trailblazers coming for that. By the way, that's the only playoff spot that's available. Right. Every other position in the West has been clinched. Everything is just all about where you're going to line up and who's going to play who in the first round, because at some point you're either going to have to play the Lakers or you're going to have to play the Clippers, depending on where you're trying to go in terms of being a franchise. So the 8th seed is the only seed that is available in the West right now, and there are technically like 4 teams in the running for it. The Portland Trailblazers are 1 game away from the Memphis Grizzlies, and then there are 3 teams that are 2 games away from where the Memphis Grizzlies currently sit. Though one of those 2 teams has been on fire. On fire is one Devin Booker and the Phoenix Suns, man. Him and DeAndre Ayton, by the way, their social media team is going ham on Twitter. Every time a team that's ahead of them beats a team that's every time that they get a key win that helps them get 1 step closer to a playoff spot, they quote tweet the score and they say thank you. They changed that. They changed their profile picture from the Phoenix Sun logo to Devin Booker after he made that game-winning shot over Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. It was, and I'm not surprised that it was Devin Booker who pulled it off. But like you said, Sykes, what do you got, man? Who you think's coming out with it? You think the Suns got a shot at this one, the Pelicans, or what?
The Suns definitely have a shot. Like you said, Devin Booker's on fire. They've won 4 straight now. They're looking extremely good. I'm going with the Blazers though. I just think they now have the team that made the Western Conference Finals back again, now that they're all healthy again. And it just feels like they're clicking at the right time in terms of getting to the AC. Once, if they get into the playoffs, we'll see.
People really underestimate the value of Yusuf. Yusuf Nurkic is a beast, man. And the drop off between him and Zach Collins is pretty sizable. Zach is a lot more aggressive defensively, which is how he got into foul trouble the other night versus the Rockets. But his offensive game is nowhere near where Yusuf is bringing to the table, and that's what they need. They need that triumvirate of CJ, Dame, and Yusuf. Yusuf's all about getting the win. He don't really care how it goes, and to come back from a freak injury where your foot is facing the opposite direction on your ankle, yeah, it was rough. It was rough, man.
Hey, if they get the 8 seed, right? They'll go on the opposite end of the bracket of the Rockets, because
they'll play yeah.
Because I want, as a Houston fan, I don't want anything to do with Dame in the playoffs, like, because
the Jazz and the Portland Trailblazers. If you're from Houston, you hate those teams with a passion, because they have been the bane of your very existence for most of your life.
Now, quick question, Mike. What is like the biggest rivalry for like the Washington teams up there? Like, who do you guys dislike the most?
You mean all sports?
Or basketball, but all sports in general. Like, which city? Like, for us, it's Dallas. Like, we hate Dallas.
We also hate Dallas.
Yeah.
Nice,
Hashtag Dallas.
Nice, yeah.
Also hate Dallas up here. For basketball, though, I would say it's probably the Celtics. Yeah, probably Celtics. Mostly LeBron, though.
Okay.
Honestly.
Why? Wait. Oh, right. That's actually really funny.
Yeah, you gotta
I just
go back
remember
to...
I just remember one of the greatest statistics of like. Hasn't LeBron eliminated the Wizards from the playoffs for like a decade, basically?
It's been a lot. It's been a lot. It goes back to like the Gilbert Arenas years, where he's whispering in Arenas' ear, "Hey, you know what's gonna happen if he misses free throw," and he misses the free throw, and then the Cavs win the game. Yeah, people don't like LeBron here. So.
Hopefully LeBron gets a MJ type documentary, so we can get a little in depth into like the rivalry with him and Gilbert, and then also Lance Stevenson. Just like give us an entire episode on like whispering like in LeBron, and like I think that'd be fucking quite funny, to be honest. But also, speaking of like watching it in the East, what do you think about T.J. Warren just coming out of nowhere and just lighting up the bubble right now?
It's been amazing to watch. Honestly, I was a TJ Warren fan coming out of NC State.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought like him coming into the NBA, I knew he was going to be able to score. Like that's just what TJ Warren did. But it was weird because he wouldn't shoot threes at any of the stops that he was at. And now it just, I don't know, man. It just feels like, he's in the perfect scenario where like the Pacers need buckets. Mm-hmm. And he's able to do that. And he's also just improved so much as an NBA player that he's like kind of rounded his scoring package out. So now like he's taking these threes not only from the corners but from the top. His dribble is way better than he's handling the ball as well as he ever has as a basketball player. Honestly, and it's just been fantastic to watch and see his growth as a player. Like I tweeted today, like I've very much so enjoyed TJ Warren's rise to superstardom. It's been incredible.
There's a couple facts that are very important about TJ Warren. TJ Warren is the highest scoring player in the bubble right now.
Which is crazy when you got you got Harden and people like that going off as well. So I mean that's a crazy
because they can't afford to load manage TJ Warren because they don't have Victor. Just facts. They just can't afford to. They have to get him to play or they're going to lose their seeding. Which is strange to say because, the 76ers are trash and they're going to the playoffs. So other thing that's really important, Jimmy Butler has not played for back-to-back games from Miami Heat. The Pacers played the Miami Heat on Monday.
Is that him?
Oh, no, he's not old. I think he's legitimately hurt. Sykes knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The Heat play the Pacers on Monday.
Yeah,
it's a very important game.
I haven't.
Popcorn.
I saw the alert about Ben Simmons, but have they put out like an update
on
what happened?
He's getting he's day to day.
Huh. All I saw was it wasn't a torn ACL or like I don't.
So
I missed that one.
Woj reported earlier today that he had basically his kneecap is partially dislocated. And he's out indefinitely.
So he's gonna win the Super Bowl? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Or is that only full dislocation? Okay. I just don't forget that. I forget it sometimes. They're probably gonna forget it in the annals of like history and everything. Patrick Mahomes dislocated his kneecap the same season he won the Super Bowl. Just thought I'd put that out there.
It's crazy. That's on the same level as Ray Lewis. What did he tears rotator cuff?
All right. So we have a running. So Sykes and Martin, we have a running joke on my team that we're gonna start using deer antler spray. Which, by the way,
oh man,
we have a running joke on my Quidditch team. We're just gonna one year we're just gonna start doing HGH and deer antler spray because of that one year that. One year that Ray Lewis broke his arm and was able to come back the same season and win the Super Bowl. I will say this. It was the first time I actually went out of my way to look up what a PED could be, and I learned a lot about deer, and it actually makes sense what he did. Is this the part where I explain what deer antler spray is?
Absolutely.
So deer have a time period where they grow their antlers, right? It's not like a tooth or anything. They grow this felt velvety type material on their horns, on their antlers. And throughout, I want to say the spring or the winter, throughout the winter, the antlers, the velvety type material has like blood vessels that are connected to their body inside of it. And they completely cover the antlers, and it feeds nutrients to the antlers from the deer eating it, and it helps them grow larger. And it happens every single year, which is how you can tell like bucks are really old when they have like larger horns and stuff like that, because every year they continue to grow. But what happens is to get that velvety type material off, they like bang their antlers against trees and it scrapes off and everything like that. Deer antler spray is that material that helps them grow enamel that goes into antlers that's very similar to human bones. So deer antler spray is like those blood vessel type things. That's what, you know what, I'm not going to say it because I don't want Ray Lewis to come talk to me. But that's allegedly what Ray Lewis did.
Exactly. Just put allegedly in front of anything and it takes away any culpability from you.
I'm just saying, when you say allegedly and then get real specific, like, hey, this is the exact supplement that he used to heal his broken arm, like, what are we really talking about here? Also, may have been a lot of Toradol. That usually helps too. Anyway, that's my quick aside, and that's your free PED lesson, guys. Next week we're talking Osterod. That's the new shit. That's the new stuff. Anyway, other than that, man, the East has been interesting. Go ahead, Martin.
I just refreshed my Twitter real quick while I was signing in, and Drake is trending. Apparently, he's releasing his album.
He dropped a song.
Yeah, he dropped a song, and the album's coming later this month. So we're gonna have to
Instagram captions about to be fired, dog.
I wonder how long he goes into how much thought. Or obviously, a lot of thought goes into it, but like how long does someone like Drake put into his captions?
The dude is I mean, he's everything. You should assume that everything that Drake does has been thought over and thoroughly combed out, because not only is he a smart guy, but you can see if you listen to the nuances in some of his songs, it's hard to believe a guy who's smart enough to come up with that isn't like controlling every single aspect. Because remember, Tuesday Slide came out during quarantine, and it was specifically marketed to become a TikTok song, which was popping off at the time, and that's what allowed it to hit and stay at the top of the charts for such a long period of time. On top of that, it's a good song.
Yeah.
Combine that with the Drake hype. That's what made it happen. Anyway, you should assume that everything that Drake does is the equivalent of a supervillain coming up with that concept. So that's what it is. Anything else? Anything else, Martin? Or we're gonna let Mike go so you can watch the NBA games.
No, I just want to apologize for not being here for the first 30 minutes. I'm sorry, man.
It's all good, bro.
Stupid internet.
It's all good.
Give a shout out to your Twitter and everything.
Yeah, so you guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram and pretty much every other platform at Mike D. Sykes. And you can subscribe to my newsletter, The Kicks You Wear, at kyw.substack.com. That's where I write about sneakers and the business that accompanies them.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was That's Mike D. Sykes, ladies and gentlemen. Hit him up on Twitter. Make sure you also tell the people about the thread you do every Thursday, man. If you got some fire kicks.
If you got fire kicks, when you follow me on Twitter, you'll see every Thursday I fill everybody's timeline up with crazy sneakers. I do this segment in the newsletter called The Kicks We Wear. And that's when I just make a call out to pretty much all of my Twitter followers to send me the shoes that they're wearing and pictures, and I post them in the newsletter. So if you want people to look at the heat that you're wearing, then follow me on Twitter and we can get that popping.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. He is Team Asics. He is Michael D. Sykes the second. Check him out on Twitter. Appreciate you coming on the show, Mike.
Appreciate it, Mike.
Thank y'all. Appreciate you for having me.
No doubt, man. And now comes the awkward way of figuring out how to get. Oh, here we go. I got it. Thanks, Mike.
There he is. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah.
Ashton, I can't believe. Oh man, dude. Internet problems in 2020, dude. Like, it's so, like, it's such a reminder of how much of a first world problem that is, dude. You know, like,
your very fate is hinging upon internet.
Yeah, like
internet
nothing,
going off. Right?
Like, literally 99% of what we do here is based off of the internet. Like, I was text. Like, the only thing we had was text, and so I tried to download Skype on my phone. Right, I go to sign in, and can't get signed into the account that you and I are on right now because I couldn't remember the password. So I go to redo the password. Right. And it is signed up under my old work email that I no longer use or no longer have access to, and it doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
So, like, I couldn't even do like a request a password to get it to send me the password. So I was just like, look, I'll just sit here and wait until my internet comes back. And I mean, it was only down for an hour and a half. I mean, hopefully that's it. But the lady said that they're doing something planned for the next week, so it may go out again. But of course, it literally, like, it could have happened Monday, Tuesday. Like I texted you, it could have happened any other day of the week, but it happened 30 minutes before we go onto the air, and it's just like, come on, man. Like,
oh man,
just talk about bad luck, man. Like, that's
how it goes, baby. That's how it goes. Them's the breaks, man. Make sure you hit up the Twitch stream, baby. We are on twitch.tv/brokeboysports.com. See, I wrote it down and I memorized it. See, I'm getting better, guys. I'm taking steps in the right direction. Check us out live on Twitch right now, or every single Thursday when we start the show. We start around 7 p.m.
We say get here for 7, and then we'll eventually get going. You know,
at some point we're gonna have openers, like we're a rock band. We're just gonna have like an opener podcast and be like, it's a 10-minute podcast from like these random dudes or whatever.
If you need a comedian, or if you're an up and coming comedian and you want a quick little 10 minutes of on-air action, you could definitely be our opening act. But thanks for Mike for coming on. I'm actually excited to go check out that shoe line, the kicks that he was talking about there, because as you know, Ashton, I love me some swag, so I love that type of stuff. So
subscribe to the newsletter. If you follow Mike on Twitter, it's actually the link in his bio. Mm-hmm. So all you got to do is click on it, put your email in it, and boom, you got access to some fire kicks that comes off every single week. He works for the Win, which is I want to say a subsidiary of USA Today, but I don't think that's the proper term, but whatever, we'll figure it out. We also got a full breakdown on like the NBA right now going on. The Western Conference is pretty simple. The Lakers are the number 1 seed. Every other seed has been clinched except the final seed in the NBA playoffs. The Eastern Conference is in a very similar situation, except the Bucks have clinched the number 1 seed overall, which is wild to see today, by the way. If you didn't see that game, they played the Miami Heat. The Heat came out there, they were torching them. They were shooting 54% from 3 at the end of the first half. They were up by like 23 points. The Bucks come out of the locker room, and at the end, towards the end of that game, towards the end of the fourth quarter, to finish off that game, they get a 20-0 run.
Jeez.
As the number 1 defensive team in the NBA, and they showed out on that one. It was Giannis balling out of control. Brook Lopez is looking a little shaky in terms of like his shot selection, but hopefully that'll pick up as time goes on. But Eric Bledsoe was even stroking it from outside, man. They were cooking in that game versus the Heat, and it was definitely a tale of two halves when it was all said and done. The Bucks are the number 1 seed, and they look like they are gonna take the East, man. it's hard to believe that anybody else has got the business for him. And I get it, the Heat didn't have Jimmy Butler today, but I don't know what to tell you when you go 20 points from one team and outscoring another one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's wild, man.
And Giannis, obviously one of the best, if not the best player in the East and in the NBA in general. So normally that's what happens. I feel like that's what happens more often in the NBA than other sports. The best player, normally his team has the number one seed. It's not every year, but I feel like it happens more often than not in the NBA. But Asha, now that the interview is over, we're going to transition to how the show normally goes. And so we're going to start with what's poppin' in quarantine. Do you have anything for us this week?
Man, that's actually a great question. Do I have anything for us this week? There's so many things I could choose from. I could go negative, like I have been the past couple. Well, the last month, literally.
Weren't you? You did a positive one a couple weeks ago.
Oh, maybe I was. Maybe I was positive. Let's go with this one. COVID-19 is what's popping in quarantine. The Major League Baseball has a very serious situation on their hands. They have multiple teams that have cases across the board, and hopefully they're taking the steps in the right direction to prevent that from happening to other teams. And on top of that, to ensure the safety of the other organizations or the current organizations that have situations going on. Their actions so far have been, hey, we're going to cancel you playing games for a week and we'll see what happens. They've had a player opt out. I could have put the Mets in this situation because they tried to make Yoenis Cespedes seem like he was missing and dead.
Yeah, that was a weird situation, wasn't it?
That was very strange. They were like, he didn't show up for work, so obviously he's been kidnapped.
Yeah, no, like it was so just seeing those reports, like it wasn't just like, hey, he's it was not even like a hey, he's missing. It was like, we don't know where he is. It was like, bro, you don't have to go to 0 to 100 so quick, like. You could just say he didn't report.
And it came from the team. It wasn't like other reporters were doing it. It came from the team. Yep. But yeah, that was that. That's one of the huge things. Oh, by the way, it turned out Yoenis Cespedes opted out. And he was just like, fuck that shit. Yeah, I don't work here no more.
He saw how the Mets season was going, and he was like, chunked
Y'all
up
got
the
it,
deuce.
dog.
Yeah.
Y'all can have it, dog.
Speaking of opting out, we're going to talk a lot more about this later in the show, but what's popping for me is the NFL player opt-out deadline. We're going to get into the details of like how many players opted out and what it's going to mean for the season in a little bit. But what's popping for me is, did you see, I think it was Tre'Davious White or one of the players, I think for the Bills.
Yeah, Tre'Davious White, yeah.
Was like literally like came out and was like, guys, stop with the harassment. Like stop harassing these players that are literally putting their health of themselves and their family before your entertainment. And you have put that. I know we've talked about this a few times in the other sports when they were coming back, when they were giving NBA players and MLB players shit for coming back and opting out, and now it's the NFL's turn. And it's kind of telling when the first NFL player to opt out was a fucking doctor.
Yeah, I was going to say, a doctor who had been helping with the COVID-19 outbreak said, man, you know what? Y'all aren't really doing what you're trying to tell me that you're doing to prevent COVID-19 from being an outbreak situation in the NFL really ain't doing it for me. Yep. In my humble medical opinion, as a doctor, I don't think you're doing what you need to do. By the way, Martin, I have access to the NFL snitch line.
Mm.
Yeah.
How's that?
Shout out to I won't put his name out there. Anyway, he put it on his Instagram story. Shout out to him. He knows who he is. Yeah. So, he put it on. He's an NFL player. He put his name on the story. Put his name. He put it on the internet or on the Instagram story, and I'm sure a bunch of other people saw it. But I have the number to call for the NFL snitch line.
Nice. But so yeah, the other thing that I noticed from it is it seems a lot of the players that did opt out are linemen on both the offensive or defensive side of the ball, and it's almost common sense as to why they're going to be up in each other's faces each and every play more often than the cornerbacks and the secondary wide receivers and the quarterbacks. So it was just so surprising to scroll through the list and see D-end, D-tackle, guard, tackle, guard. Like the Browns have 3 guards that all opted out. So
yeah, so there's 3 teams, or there's 1 team now. There's 1 team that hasn't had somebody opt out, and it's the Chargers.
The Chargers and the Falcons.
the Chargers, the Falcons, and I think the Bucks
Yeah,
don't
there's
have
one more.
anybody who opted out, which is
Well,
why.
you got Tom Brady. You're literally doing
I'm gonna
anything
let
to get
this
a
one
Super
ride. I'm gonna
Bowl.
ride this one
Yeah.
out. Maybe yeah.
I'll take
You
a little
tell you what,
Corona for the Super Bowl for Tom
like
Brady.
the Rona is gonna be bad, but at least I'll die a champion.
Did you also see the? This is probably just propaganda that came out, but the quotes that came out from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers after Brady's first practice, and they were talking about like they couldn't believe he was 45 years old and all. Like he looks like he was 25 out on the field and all this stuff. It's like, dude, this gotta be like somebody hired a really good PR spin person and is just getting everybody hyped for Tom Brady. But we're gonna get into the numbers. Today is the NFL opt-out deadline day. Please don't be mad at players because they're putting health before your entertainment.
And by the way, so Martin, this is the part where we do the spiel that we always do when regular people, like everyday working people, trying to compare their job to NFL players, right?
Mhm.
Or professional athletes in any way, shape, or form. The universal policy on this podcast is your job is nowhere near the same as a professional athlete. So stop treating it like it is. The second you stop treating your job like it's the same as Tre'Davious White, who plays in the NFL for the Buffalo Bills as a pro athlete on TV every single Sunday, the better off you will be and the less of an idiot you will sound like. Nobody shows up to watch you at your job. No offense, nobody shows up to watch you work your job.
Yep.
That's just facts.
Yeah. It's so true, dude.
So many other things, like so many other factors of like, oh man, well, I'd show up to make make $1.1 million. It's like, cool. Like, that's a great thing that you would do if you had done the work or had the skill or been born a certain way to be able to do that. But you're not.
But you're not.
Just because. Yeah, and and then the other thing is like, just because somebody makes a lot of money does not excuse them for being a human being.
Yeah.
Like, just like that there's this concept that some people have where like you make so much money you're above racism. That's laughable. That's impossible.
Yeah.
People like racism doesn't make sense. So your logic of being like you can make so much money that racism doesn't factor into your life anymore. That's not true. Like, so but yeah, man, it's just one of those times where you have to remind people like nobody comes to your job to watch you do your job. You're not the same as a pro athlete. Sorry, buddy. There's some things that are similar. Your job is nowhere near the same as what Tre'Davious White does on a regular basis. He has a goalie academy. What do you have?
Yeah.
Deep NFL cut if you got that one.
So here's like if you click on like any story that's talking about players opting out and like you just go and read some of the comments, like this goes for more than just this. You have to like stop and think, all right, is this person a bot or is this person actually real? So here's a comment.
Yeah, the fact that we have to do that so much now is insane.
It's insane. But so CNN breaking news put out NFL players have opted out of the 2020 season due to the pandemic. Click here, like you click the link for more. The number one comment on my feed. This is disgraceful. When you look at World War II, not a single soldier opted out when it came to invading England, which in World War II, nobody invaded England on the American side, but that's okay. Just shows how out of touch these athletes are. Like, that's got to be a bot account, right? Like, like, there's no way there's no way you would think America invaded England during World War II, but also
we're not. Yeah,
you're comparing people signing up for the military to it's just shit like that. Like I have to like stop, and not like there's so many things I've seen on the internet that I just literally have to stop myself from pressing like send or because it's not worth getting into a conversation with people like that. Like
by the way, I've heard that's not the first time I've heard that argument, and I actually heard it from a guy who kept referring to he went to like Vietnam, and I can't even confirm that because like it could just be a 12-year-old who has an account of like a ex-military vet as his avatar and pretends to be a military dude on Twitter or whatever. And he just calls it like, he just kept calling it shithole countries and stuff like that. And all the horrible things that we did. And I'm just kind of like, bro, like stop calling other countries shithole countries, first of all, because that's very coded language. Like none of us are dumb. We have the decoder ring. We know what you're trying to say.
You just got to let them know that America is currently a third world country because it's on a no-flies list to just about everywhere in the world. So if you want to talk about shithole countries, you got to start with the ones that are on a no fucking fly list. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so we go there. We go with that one. Also saw a news piece about how New York is basically trying to track people who are coming into New York from out of other states, and they're trying to shut it down. They're like, "Oh, we got it under control over here. It's going down over here, and it's going to stay that way." So
Yeah.
anyway, other stuff. I was just saying, he's like a military vet. And he was talking about like, oh well, I wish I could have opted out of joining the military. And I was like, there has been a draft twice in the history of this country, and it was for World War I and World War II, and all of those guys are dead. Like all of those even the survivors of World War I and II are now deceased.
Yeah,
So
there's very few left.
like, so what are you talking about? I wish I could have opted out, which you can. Like conscientious observer is a very real thing. To prevent having to go into military service. Some people are very familiar with that. A lot of us are very familiar with it from Muhammad Ali. Some other people are very familiar with it from another person. But a conscientious observer, and on top of that, like you signing up to join the military is nowhere near like being a professional athlete and dedicating your life to becoming an NFL player, an NBA player. And I'm not saying one is better than the other one. I'm just saying those are two very different like lanes. And once again, back to my original point, stop trying to compare your job, because at the end of the day, when it's not wartime, being in the military is a job.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a job on a daily basis that has a paycheck, and you get all kinds of benefits from it. And it's great because it's a path that really helps some people out. Not one that I would be down for, but it is definitely something that is it's definitely something that's noble, and it takes a lot of courageous people to sign up to do that. But I'm still gonna stick to my guns and be like, don't compare your job to a professional athlete, because it's not the same.
Yeah.
Not the same.
True.
So
Yep. So that's what's popping in quarantine is the NFL player opt-out deadline. We move along to what Ashton founded this show on. Best of the best, worst of the worst. Ashton, we've got two best of the best this week. I'll start off with mine because if you haven't seen this video, I want you to stop what you're doing right now and go look up the video of the Lynn Family Foundation. Anthony Lynn, obviously the coach of the San Diego Chargers. His family foundation teamed up
San
with
Diego.
what? Oh, Los Angeles. Sorry, my bad. Los Angeles Chargers.
It's the swear jar. That's $1 in the swear jar, Martin.
His family foundation teamed up with Water Boys, which was the organization founded by Chris Long to help.
I was gonna say most famously with Chris Long, and
Yep.
Another person that when he beat the shit out of Mason Rudolph like he deserved, Myles Garrett, they tried to get him removed from Water Boys for
Yep.
some reason.
Whitney
And Chris Long
Merciless.
was like, "Yeah, fuck you." Like,
Whitney Merciless is a part of it as well.
yeah, Aaron Donald, I think, is too.
Yeah, so they've all teamed up and they helped. Well, last year actually, Anthony Lynn's foundation helped start a school in I think it says I think it's not a city, it's just an area in Tanzania. Hopefully, I think I'm saying that right.
Yeah, Tanzania.
Tanzania. And now this year he wasn't able to go over there because of coronavirus. So in the off season, the Water Boys and the foundation helped install a well with clean running water for this village in Tanzania. I keep wanting to say the Tasmanian devil for some reason, but that's not it at all.
Yeah, because Tasmania doesn't exist anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But so the kids at this school would have to walk every day 3 to 4 miles to get clean water, whereas you or I literally have to get up and take about 3
I walk
steps
3 feet.
that way.
I think I walk about 3 feet.
Exactly. And to get water, and now the video of these kids getting that running water, knowing that they don't have to walk for fucking 3 to 4 miles each day just to get a fucking cup of water. Shout out to them, man. The video is heartwarming. If you've got a soul, it's fucking great. But that's for me the best of the best story that I saw this week, because he didn't have to do that. They didn't have to fucking help a country in Africa, he could have just sat on his money and fucking stayed home. But no, he's going out there, he's helping not only his community but fucking other people less fortunate in the world. That's some shit you love to see.
No doubt. Love to see it, man. Out there doing things that are much bigger than football and recognizing and making a difference in people's lives, like saving lives every single day. That's pretty dope, man. My best of the best was nowhere near as cool. It was just a sign of what I consider to be massive amounts of progress. UFC 4, which, by the way, I've been watching a lot of streamers do some gameplay through, Martin, and it's going to be lit.
Oh, yeah, I can't wait. I'm excited for it.
This is this year in particular, UFC 4 is taking a huge step forward in terms of the My Career mode, which if you want to make a successful video game, I'm telling you right now, there's nothing more than what people like to do is to either create somebody who looks exactly like them and make them a successful athlete and help have them achieve all their dreams, or make somebody who looks nothing like them and escape into like a fantasy world. So you should be investing all of your development money into the My Career or the My Player mode that any sports video game has. Yep. That's why RPGs are so popular, especially customizable RPGs. Yep. So UFC 4 finally took the hint, and now they've created a totally new take on what their career mode is. It has a social media aspect of it. It embraces all the different aspects of things that can go horribly wrong in the course of a training or the rise to the UFC, the rise to get the championship. You can customize your styles to to the nth degree. You develop skills based on how much you use them in certain fights, which is a really good engine because people can become one-dimensional, and that is a very real thing in MMA. There are guys who were just straight, like we talk about one person in particular, aka Lucky Charms. Conor McGregor has probably the best hands in the history of mixed martial arts, right next to John Jones possibly, and terrible ground game, right? Just terrible. Like that's just how it is. He does enough to not get choked out so he can stand up and knock you the fuck out. It's just how it is. And that's a real thing that can happen in UFC 4. They today announced the top 10 fighters that are going to appear in UFC 4. I thought the Lioness herself would be easily in the top 3. Did not expect her to be number 1 overall. Shout out to Amanda Nunes and UFC 4 and really EA for having enough balls to take that step and be like, guess what, dude? Like John Jones is doesn't look like he's trying to fight anytime soon. He's been great. He's come up on like one of his sketchy. He had the last time you saw John Jones fight, a lot of people could argue that he lost that fight. And Amanda Nunes has just been dominant, and she's been dominant in 2 different weight classes. Yep. Without question, she is the best fighter in the UFC right now, and nothing epitomizes that more than the last title bout that she took, because there was no point at any point that you thought that young lady had a chance. We were more concerned about, hey, should you stop it because she's bleeding too much, instead of like, how can she get back into this fight? Amanda Nunes has not faced many challengers. She is folded over Chris Cyborg, which a lot of us thought was impossible. And she is the number 1 fighter for UFC 4 and is the equivalent of like a 99 overall in Madden. So shout out to Amanda Nunes for breaking barriers. And I'm sure all the incels that love to talk about video games and stuff are in full force.
Dude, the comments on the UFC's post when they put that out, it's just fucking great. How can you have a woman as the best pound for pound fighter? She would lose to every man possible. It's like, bro.
The concept of pound for pound really escapes you guys, huh?
Just stop. Like, just appreciate fucking greatness. Amanda Nunes is one of the greatest fighters you will ever see in your lifetime. Like, like, yes, she has a loss on her record. Yes. Like, yes, she has lost in her career. So, like,
right.
That doesn't mean she's not a fucking, like, a god among the women that she fucking fight. Like, oh, dude, like my one, I don't know if it's a gripe, but they had GSP in the top 10. I was gonna ask you about that.
So I guess the legacy stuff is in play for this year. So I don't know how that's gonna shake out overall, because I know they have like different venues that you can fight at. Like they have different versions of like they have Muay Thai, where the traditional Muay Thai, if you guys know the origins of Muay Thai. Muay Thai was, of course, founded in Thailand. It is the martial art of Thailand, right? Mm-hmm. And the way it used to be practiced is by fishermen. And instead of gloves, they used to wrap rope, like fishing rope, around their hands and punch each other. So they have like a version of UFC 4 where you can do that. So I'm assuming there's like a bunch of other things that are getting added into this, because you got to have like the legendary fighters, because it draws in the older crowd for UFC, right? Instead of just having the roster of like the new guys. Because there's gonna be some dudes. I'm telling you right now, there's dudes that are casual. There are people that are casual MMA fans, and there's dudes on UFC 4 that you don't even know the name of.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's just facts. But everybody knows who GSP is. He's one of the greatest of all time. So I think, especially based off like the thing that he did last time that he was in the octagon, which was win, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially because I think they can go with like, we put this version of GSP in the game, right?
Yeah. So I agree with that. What I don't agree with is where they ranked Francis Ngannou. Did you see what he's like outside the top 20? He's like outside the top 20, top 25. You're literally gonna sit here and tell me the guy that like is probably one of the like on a. Is it safe to say he's on a hot streak right now in his fights? Like,
yeah, Francis puts everybody to sleep. So
exactly,
call him the Sandman.
Like, how is he not in the top 10?
Top 10 is kind of stacked, man. I will say this: Francis's ground game is not.
That's true.
Great.
But he never gets put on his back, so it doesn't like.
Yeah, the only person who's been able to do it, he
Derek
has the
Lewis.
belt. Yeah, Derek Lewis
And
Stipe.
Yeah,
Stipe was able to beat him off the fact that he was able to get him on the ground, and really Stipe beat him because he tough as hell. He's from Cleveland, so he's used to getting hit in the face with a baseball bat, because that's what it's like to be from Cleveland every single day. He's a Cavaliers fan. He's a Browns fan. He's been used to being bludgeoned over the head constantly. So, by the way, cannot wait, dude. 2 weeks from now,
yep.
DC versus Stipe. Gonna be so lit, bro. Gonna be so lit.
The trilogy.
The trilogy, baby. DC's final fight as an MMA fighter. He says he's going full broadcaster / radio guy, media guy after this. And Stipe, who knows where Stipe's gonna be in a year from now, because you could argue he could be on the same path.
Yeah.
Based off of what he's been able to achieve in his short time in the UFC as a heavyweight champion, and really being a heavyweight fighter as a whole. And it could open the pathway for Francis or Curtis Blades or Derek Lewis to make a run at a title. Because remember, Derek was almost, speaking of Derek, we'll talk about him a little bit later on in the show too. Derek decided he wanted to retire, right? And came back randomly when he got into better shape. So who knows? Anything can happen. That's the beauty of being a heavyweight champ. I think the most title defenses in like heavyweight champ history is like 3 or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's a delicate place to be, being the top of the heavyweights, being the king of the big boys out there. And Francis seems like he's kind of chugging his way right towards it. But Stipe is a legend. Stipe is a legend.
True.
There's no question about that whatsoever.
All right,
that's what we got for best of the best. Yeah, man. Here we go. Ooh.
Now,
hey, like I said, hey, let me preface this. We're going to worst of the worst. I'll stop talking about it as soon as y'all stop doing it.
Dude,
Go ahead, Martin.
This worst of the worst. When Ashton, I didn't even see it. Ashton texted me I think he texted me the link of a story, or asked me if I saw this, and I went and looked. I thought this story was 100% false. I didn't believe it. Colorado State. One of the paper, or a local news agency out there.
It's the Coloradan.
The Coloradan,
I think is how you see it.
Reporting Colorado State players and some members of their staff or the athletic department are being asked by coaches to hide the fact that they have or COVID-19 or that they have symptoms. Am I getting that right?
So they said anonymously. They didn't say if it was a player or a staff member, but other people have confirmed that the coaching staff at Colorado State, and this is a story in the Colorado. And so if we're wrong about this, we literally got it from a news source that they said that they talked to somebody in the program. They said that they've been told to not talk about their symptoms, not address their symptoms. And on top of that, I think there's sketchy stuff going on with the testing at Colorado State. And there's an incident where a guy who sounds like he's a player based off of the quote that he gave, sounds like he's a player, said that he was at practice. One of his teammates was coughing and hard, was coughing hard at practice, and standing right next to him. And this whole thing of like they made that guy the next day he wasn't at practice. Like he nobody said anything about like what happened to him. He wasn't at practice, and then we didn't see him for like 2 weeks or something like that. So it comes off like based off of what's being said, and it's an anonymous source, so who knows, man. They say it's a guy, a person within the organization for Colorado State that is being told by coaches and other members of the athletic staff, even though some members of the athletic staff are confirming that they've been told by the coaches and other people to not report COVID-19 symptoms or COVID-19 positive test. So my question starts to become, if this is true, how long do you go to jail for hiding that information?
Dude, like that is, it's so mind-boggling to like tell your players and hide everything that's going on during what is a global like it just doesn't. Where's the humanity in it? Like I don't know.
What a great question, Martin. What a
Like-
great question. Where's the humanity? Oh man,
Like
that one cuts deep. My
like,
question
you're-
starts to become: you talk about like coaches being CEOs and stuff? Are these leaders of men and women,
Yeah,
or are
it
they just football coaches?
doesn't make any
Because
sense.
every football coach I've ever met and got a chance to talk to, they would find this behavior despicable because it endangers the kids that they care about so much. And it begs the question, do you care about your players? Right? And they're trying to get the program on track to the point where they can be like, look, we have no positive tests, so we can go out here and play football normally, right? Right? Everybody's cool with that. Like, nobody's going to ask any questions, all this kind of stuff like that. And yeah, and sad part is, Martin, we know they're not the only ones.
Mm-hmm. They're just the ones that came out first.
They're just the ones who came out there and were bold enough to say something first.
Yep.
They're not the only ones. Brett McMurphy, not Britt. Brett McMurphy, who used to work for ESPN, is a great follow right now. He's been basically reporting every single major college in the country and being like, they tested this many people, 0% or 0 people tested positive, or this many people tested positive. This college program is canceling their season. This college program is going to all conference. He's been that guy who's been breaking that news this whole time. So shout out to Brett McMurphy. Brett McMurphy, not Britt. There's two very different people. Do not follow Brett McMurphy. Britt McMurphy. Both of them used to work for ESPN. Britt is a bad person, and I hope she is better soon because she has like a brain tumor or something. So she is also the sports Tommy Loren. So I said it. I'm not a bad person. I'm not a bad person for saying that. Everybody thought that before she got sick. Anyway, fuck you, Colorado State.
Yeah,
If that shit's true, fuck you, Colorado State.
Yeah, if that's going on, what the fuck are you doing? Like,
especially if that stuff comes out
like,
and
you're Colorado
and
State.
parents find out that you've been hiding the fact that their kids have a disease that has no vaccines from them. Depending on what kind of parents it is, they gonna be mad as hell.
Bro, like, and here's the other thing: they're Colorado State. Why, like?
I really wanted to bring that up, Martin.
Bro,
be like, y'all out here risking it all for Colorado State.
Bro, exactly. What, you're gonna go 4-8 this season, like hiding the fact that your players might have a COVID-19? Like, you're not in the championship running. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're just trying to make money. That's all you're trying to do.
I was gonna say, Martin, you know what time it is. It's time to make this money, baby.
Yeah.
It's always time to make this money.
How can we take advantage of these kids that are basically playing? I'm not gonna say playing for free because they do get a scholarship, but how?
And
can
by
we
the end of next week, they better not be playing for free,
like, how
or
are
else we won't. Or nobody gonna be playing.
How are we gonna make money off of this situation? Oh, I know. Let's just fucking sweep it under the rug and pretend like nothing's going on.
Yeah, let's make players disappear for 2 weeks and then have people be like, oh, they were hurt. They had a high ankle sprain. We had them come in for training early in the morning before the rest of the team got here, and you never saw them. Anyway, hopefully that story's not true. I have a strange feeling it is, though. So there you go. Martin, I think it's time to move on about a week ago, because the subject of about a week ago is actually Bobby Shmurda.
Oh yeah. See, here's the thing. I thought you were gonna go two different ways with that one. With Bobby Shmurda Or about a week ago, Ashton was single, and now my boy has got a girl.
Oh, there you go. No doubt. Hopefully she's not listening right now.
Why are you?
Yeah, yeah.
You
By the way,
embarrassed?
this is a big moment for me. This is my first album drop from Drake in a relationship. So
Congratulations, congrats, brother.
no doubt, man. Appreciate it, man. She's awesome.
The tweet
and
of the tweet of the year so far for me is Ashton's mom. You're into black girls?
yeah. He's like, you talk to black women, mom.
Oh, dude, like, no offense, but I laughed really hard when I saw that tweet from you, dude. It was so funny.
Yeah, my mom was laughing pretty hard too when she said it. Yeah, Savage season.
Yeah.
That was a savage thing.
But for real,
but yeah,
Bobby Shmurda,
yeah, Bobby Shmurda's up for possibly release.
Yeah, our boy might be coming out soon, so we're gonna be doing the hot boy dance more often than not.
Oh man, and shout out to Martin for that quick change of the word that comes after hot. Anyway, the song is called Hot Nigga, if you didn't know. That was pretty slick from Martin there. But yeah, anyway, shout out to Bobby Shmurda for possibly getting out of jail. I don't know what you did. I hope you didn't actually do it, but hey, you served your time. Hopefully he's out soon and catching his hat. Finally gonna catch his hat. Anyway, Black Twitter went fucking crazy on Bobby Shmurda possibly getting out of jail.
Yep.
So Mario, we got we talking money or we talking money, and well, we talking a lot of money. We talking billions of dollars, billions with a B. From the NCAA that need to go in the pockets of these Pac-12 players, because we're talking about we are united as the Pac-12 across the board. They hopped in the group chat, Martin, and they had a serious conversation across the board, and they came out with some wild demands of like, we want a 50-50 revenue split evenly across the board for all college players. They want actual, well, this is the most insane of all the things that they asked for, Martin. They want high quality COVID-19 testing, because obviously that has been the biggest issue that we're here in this global pandemic. And yeah, we are united is a hashtag being utilized by the Pac-12, and I'm assuming because the Big Ten also got in on this, they made some demands as well about revenue splits, and same thing for a lot of the Pac-12 athletes, which strangely enough, it's funny that the lowest end of the Power Five is the one that comes up with the rebellion and starts the rebellion across the board. They say, if you don't give us these demands in a week, we're not playing.
A week too.
Which,
like they didn't. They didn't.
Oh yeah.
Like that was. They're like, look, you got what was it 5-7 day whatever they like.
They
announced
it
Monday and put it Friday. But like, dude, come on, like. That is putting your foot down and saying, like, we ain't putting up with your bullshit. We're not going to do what the MLB did where they fucking agreed and walk back and agreed and walk back, you know? Like, they're saying, give us our fucking money.
That is the funny part, man. They're like, they pulled down the ski mask and they said, hey, stick them up. The Big Ten got in on this one too. The Big Ten posted for the Players Tribune. Shout out to the Players Tribune for letting the athletes speak their mind and speak what's coming off their chests in the Big Ten and the Pac-12. And Martin, the revolution is here. It's time for these adults that have been making money off the bodies of all these players to finally pay up.
Yep.
They thought it was enough to be like, hey man, we'll let you guys make money off your likenesses if you can figure people out, but also like not too much money. Like we have to limit it. Yeah, we control how much money you can make off your own likeness, because we're you and we own you. So the other aspect of this whole thing is, and I mentioned this and I thought about it, and if you look at actually this is the reason that I named this episode the 10 Dual Commandments, which is the title of the song from Hamilton. Hamilton is a musical, of course, centered around the Alexander Hamilton, who never became president, right, is on our money. Alexander Hamilton, who eventually would become eventually is a part of the massive revolution that leads to the creation of America. And now, ironically enough, we are in a time now in the year 2020 that so much change has happened because the world's had to slow down, come to a complete halt at a certain point. And we are seeing all kinds of groups of people staying together and fight against the systems that have been holding them back. Fight against the systems that have been robbing them blind.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen the backlash, right? Like we've seen the reactions to all the protests that have been going on in Portland. We've seen cops show up, start scooping people up, putting them in vans. Like we're not in America anymore. Like we're not in the America that Alexander Hamilton and all those founding fathers fought for, and a lot of their friends and a lot of slaves died for, right? Mm-hmm. And now we live in a time now where one of the most un-American things in this entire country that goes on every single year that generates billions of dollars, college athletics, that hides behind the guise of what a student athlete or defining what a student athlete is. Hiding behind the guise of that to keep kids away from the millions of dollars that they help generate every single year, right?
True.
And now it's time to pay up.
Yeah.
The robbery has been, not even the robbery. They pulled down the ski mask and they sent the ransom letter through the Players Tribune, and now they're waiting for their response because this bullshit is over. Like this, if there is something that, like I said before in my description, college sports is the most un-American thing in this country that exists in the year 2020, where you show up for a college education, you sign up for a college education off a full ride scholarship, which in some cases, which varies across the board, right, in terms of value. And many could argue that education is invaluable, which I believe is a big part of, like, I believe that's true. Like, education can do all kinds of things for people, despite the fact that, like, if you're not talented enough to be a professional athlete at the sport that you play in, and education can go so many different avenues and help you get to places you never even thought were possible in some cases, right? There are umpteenth examples of how everything that goes on in college sports is wrong. Mm-hmm. Everything that goes on in college sports, where it would be what goes on in college sports is like the intern who just so happens to be the main attraction generates. The intern is the one who's out here doing all the legwork and all the hard work, and then they're on a free internship.
Yep.
Like not getting paid, no benefits, no nothing.
Just experience.
Just experience, right? Just experience for the hope that they will get a job at some point down the line. And it's one of the few times that actually overlaps with professional sports. Because if you don't think that college athletics is professional sports, you've never paid attention to college athletics. You've never been a college athlete, because the schedule and the grueling conditioning and ability and all the training that goes into all those players is 100% professional sports to a T. Mm-hmm. They just tell you that they're amateurs because it keeps the money away from them, the money that they earn, man. I saw this happen with the Pac-12, and I was like, oh, man, they asking for a lot. They asking for the most unreasonable thing, and I think universally across the board, many people could argue and believe the most unreasonable thing is that they want the money evenly distributed amongst all players. And a lot of people could argue that that's not fair to the top end guys, just like it benefits the bottom guys, but it's not fair to the top end dudes that can make more money. And talk about communism. That is a communist concept of everybody getting paid the same amount of money.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. So
there should be a grading. I think there should be, if you're going to pay, there should be some type of sliding. But you can't, like, almost like a salary cap, I guess, but not to that extreme.
I think there should be something. I think there's something to be said about, like, hey, you're an offensive lineman. If you're a second string offensive lineman, this is how much money you get.
Yeah, like,
and it incrementally increases. Yep. It doesn't matter, like, across the board.
Starting quarterback gets this, backup quarterback, third string quarterback, receiver, like, divvy up the pie, like, but don't fucking claim that they're getting a free education and that's enough,
right? And by the way, remember the education's free until you don't want to play sports anymore, right?
Yeah, and then
then all of a sudden all the bills show up, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what we got for We Talking Money. Or We Talking Money? Because we talking money.
Yep,
we're talking money right now. For the Pac-12, for the Big Ten, for every single sport on the face in college sports right now, and we can get into the deeper discussion about how, you know, not every sport generates money for their university. That happens. That's a real thing. But it doesn't take away from the argument that there are players and athletes on campus that deserve to get paid, that deserve to make money because they bring fame and attention, branding wise, to different organizations, different schools across the board, right? Like Lamar Jackson brought a ton of attention to Louisville that nobody was paying attention to because Louisville was a basketball school.
True.
And still is, really. Still is.
But brought more attention to the football. Like the uniforms that some of the players are wearing right now for Louisville is a direct correlation of Lamar Jackson's success.
Say it louder into the mic, Martin. Let them know, let the ones in the back hear it. There's like you said, man, and the same thing can go for Kentucky basketball players.
True.
Kentucky basketball players brought meaning to the term BTN, Big Blue Nation. Big Ten Network is BTN, BBN, Big Blue Nation. Yeah, so they brought meaning to what that terminology means, and it's hard to sit here and argue that they don't deserve some of that money because guess what? Without them, the money don't exist.
Yep.
If you take every single one of those dudes off campus that's playing Division I sports right now, the quality of sports is and bring up the Division II guys, and no offense to the Division II guys, there's a reason they're Division II, right? Mm-hmm. The assessment at the time they're not ready to be Division I athletes. The quality drops across the board to a level that doesn't garner billions of dollars every year, that doesn't garner the millions of dollars in donations that you're able to get from boosters, the millions of dollars that are spent to illegally get money to recruits, that subsequently, if they get caught, the only person that suffers is the recruit in that situation. So just something to think about. We talking money because the uprising is here, man. The rebellion is here. I don't know what's going to happen next week, but it's going to be good to watch. Once again, I will be getting my popcorn.
All right, Ashton, it's time for me to stump you again, and hopefully you not get this question in less than a second like you did a few times a couple of weeks ago.
Okay. Stab in the dark, Ledecky.
Nope. Though that chocolate milk thing was pretty cool.
It was pretty wild, right? Yeah.
I didn't believe it. I was like, that's like computer graph.
You told me it was Katie Ledecky, and I was like, I believe that woman can do anything in a pool. So I'll let you ride on that one.
For anybody that don't know, go check out the video. She is swimming underwater the whole time while balancing chocolate milk on her head and doesn't spill a fucking drop of the chocolate milk. Like
elite.
I just want to know when somebody was like had the idea like, hey Katie, do you think you could swim across this entire pool without spilling chocolate milk? Like when did that happen?
They're like, yo, no, do it. And like, how many times did they fail? Because I didn't see any chocolate milk in the actual pool.
Exactly.
So like, how many times did they take them to get clean cuts on that one?
Yeah.
So maybe Katie is just that elite.
All right. So hi, my name is an NBA basketball player born in California.
Born in California. Man, I want to say Patrick Beverly, but it's not him.
Nope.
He was born in Chicago.
I am part of Ashton and I's hometown team.
Oh, it's Russell Westbrook.
No, you're getting
or
closer.
James Harden.
James Harden coming in
straight out of Compton.
Yeah, straight out of Compton, coming in there, becoming the all-time leading scorer for left-handed shooters in the NBA. Got to give him a shout out. One, he's been carrying the Rockets for the past few years, and what is he averaging 35 points a game right now in this past season? Like something fucking wild. Like whatever his average is, it's fucking above 30 this season. But
unstoppable.
Yeah, and now I think he's like second in Rocket scoring and first as a left-hander in the NBA. So you got to give him credit. I believe I thought I said earlier the Rockets and Lakers are playing tomorrow night. I think they're actually playing tonight.
They're playing right now, actually.
Yeah. Okay.
And the Rockets are up by like 15. So
hell yeah, that's what you love to see.
You love to see it. And they just put up a graphic about how James has got the most 30-point games in the NBA.
Nice. So, yeah. It's got perfect timing. How about that? Perfect timing as they're talking about
flawless
it on TV.
Execution.
We're talking about it right here. If you're watching and listening, we are on twitch.tv/Broke Boy Sports. We're also on YouTube. If you want to look us up on there, just look up Broke Boy Sports. Look up Ashton on his Twitter at FB_playbook. I'm at Martyn Pape _. We're trying to work on an Instagram as well. That's one's going to be a little while before we get there. But
just like we're working on getting an actual getting on iTunes, because that's a battle.
Yep, slowly but surely.
It's a battle.
Shout out to everybody that's been downloading and listening on Spotify, Spreaker, Google, What's the other two? I can't think off the top
Oh,
of
we
my
got
head.
Podcast Addict, Google Podcasts, all kinds of stuff, man. Anywhere you get podcasts except iTunes, we are available.
Yep. So now it is time to move on to some media suggestions, Ashton. This is where we kind of talk about stuff that we've watched and listened to over the past week that we want other people to check out. I'll take the lead on this one. Did you get a chance to see the return of Dana White's Contender Series on Tuesday?
No, I know that's the place where so it used to be a YouTube series. Now it's on Fight Pass, right?
Yeah, it's on the. If you have ESPN Plus, you have access to it. So if you've been watching any of the UFC fights on ESPN Plus, you have access to Dana White's Contender Series. And this past one, 3 separate fighters earned a contract from Dana White for the UFC from the Contender Series.
How many of those? What's the limit you think he walks in there with? Like, do you think he goes in? He's like, I can only offer like 4 contracts tonight.
Honestly, it would be smart if he said, "I'll offer a contract to every winner," or like.
But like some guys win and they're not good.
True, but the guy that I can't even remember his name. What's his name? Medic, however the fuck you say his name. He came out and he got a first round knockout, and
that'll do it.
Uros Medic, undefeated 27-year-old from Serbia, got a first round TKO of Mikey Gonzalez. If you go back and watch
those Dagestan points, by the way,
his body, dude. Go back, like when we've been watching these fights and you hear punches and kicks connect. Go back and watch his fight against Gonzalez and the body kicks and the sound that was making when he was landing those body kicks, dude. Like, it was one of those, like, every single time you as a viewer, like myself as a viewer, would do like a little cringe face, like, oh my god, that had to hurt. But
yeah, no
shout out
doubt
to him. Shout out for Dana White for putting it on. And if you like UFC and mixed martial arts and seeing some up and comers, go check that out.
So my media suggestion for I got a couple here. I got a couple of podcasts you should listen to. The articles I was going to suggest, I realize now are on The Athletic, which you have to pay for. So these are all free ones, though. You should listen to the Full 48 this week. Stan Van Gundy was on there, and he talked about just the bubble as a whole. Stan Van Gundy, of course, a brilliant basketball mind, was a head coach for a really long time, brother of Jeff Van Gundy, who a lot of people like as a broadcaster. Jay's last pod on sports, Jay Wolf, is no longer with ESPN. He is one of the co-hosts of sports podcasts with Katie Nolan. So this week was his last episode. So check him out there. The other key ESPN daily podcast to listen to this week is the How Pac-12 Players Demands Will Impact College Football, which was 2 days ago. I'm trying to see. That was the Tuesday episode of the ESPN Daily. Also check out, this is a dramatic one, if you will, Checkpoint XP Daily Podcast. This week they had, this is also from Tuesday, Ninja got caught on stream losing his shit and some other stuff because he's a child.
Dr. Disrespect is back for anybody that cares about esports and that whole thing. Today,
did he say why he was gone?
No, they haven't announced it yet, but he today, August 6th, we're recording this on a Thursday, he turned his YouTube on. Finally, after all the rumors saying he was moving to YouTube, he has officially, they already put his subscriber thing there. He turned it on, and within like minutes of turning on his YouTube, he had over 500,000 viewers at one point.
There you go.
He's probably like, while I was sitting in there for 5 minutes, the money was just pouring in, and he wasn't even live. It was literally a like overlay graphic with music playing underneath. Like, it was literally a graphic of a car sitting in a gas station with music playing underneath, and like every now and then you would hear like a kind of like a highlight of his voice, like him talking, but like it was obviously like him talking in a game at that present moment. And so like, dude, I want to know how much money he made by not even showing his face. And then
so
how much money did fucking YouTube pay him? And we still don't know what he did to get banned from Twitch.
Yeah, man, I don't know what the deal is. And that's like I don't know, man. That's a weird thing because I feel like you imagine, because Dr. Disrespect loves to run his mouth. you would imagine he would have said something by now. It makes you think that it's a legal situation. So that's got to be kind of interesting.
But the thing is, like, there's no there's no public court documents. So if it was a legal thing, there would be something somewhere. And so, it's interesting.
I'm just saying the silence says a lot from a guy
exactly.
who talks as fucking much as Dr. Disrespect does.
Oh, 100%.
Who loves to piss people off, who loves to talk about how the mob is against him and how everybody wants to be against him. He loves to try and play the victim all the time. That's his shtick, especially considering he loves to pretend like he can say messed up stuff, and then when people say messed up stuff to him, it is mean, right? Yeah. That's like his thing. So it's very concerning, because it could be something very, very bad. Hopefully, maybe it's like a mental state thing where it's like him personally, he doesn't want to say anything about it. And like you said before, there's like something about him getting a divorce, right? And people, or like there's people spreading rumors that he's getting a divorce kind of deal.
It's weird. Like, because we live in an information age. Like, how is this?
It has to be between him and somebody else. It has to be between him and like one other person, or like two other people.
There's got to be there's obviously a gag order on both sides, and so like I don't know, dude. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Hey, hopefully we find out at some point. And hopefully it doesn't mean that somebody else got hurt because Dr. Disrespect was doing something stupid. So, or Dr. Disrespect himself got hurt because somebody else is doing something stupid. Other stuff. This is the Reed Option podcast. It's Eric Reed, not that Eric Reed, a different one. Is it Eric or Jordan? It's Jordan Reed. Sorry, Jordan Reed, who is a scout that works for the Draft Network, and he interviewed Lance Zierlein, which was about 4 days ago. So that was Monday. Check that podcast out. It was pretty cool. He gave some tips on how to assess players and how to figure out from when you miss on players how to get better as a scout or get better as a person who assesses talent. Check that out for sure. That's all I got. That's all the good stuff I got. Everything else I read article wise this week was either basic information things or from The Athletic. So if you have The Athletic, check out Ben Folk's article on this last card in the UFC where 9 fights happened.
Yeah. And
there were more fights canceled than actually fought.
Yeah, which is wild.
And all of them for really strange reasons. Like there was one Sean Spicely or Ben Spicely, who is a fighter that you didn't pick or anything. Because Martin went 2-1 last week with the nickname picks, right? And remember, he picked 5. 2 of his fighters didn't go off. One of them was going up against a guy who had COVID-19, and they scrapped his fight. And then the other guy scrapped because he got hurt, like warming up or something like that. And that was the Madman. That was Maduka, the Madman. He got his opponent got hurt, and he was not able to report. There was multiple fighters who fainted.
Yeah, one pre-fight, one post-fight.
Yeah, was it JoJo? Mm-hmm. Your only loss.
Yep.
After they were checking her out in the back, and she passed out, and they took her to the hospital, which is concerning because she got submitted. Like she didn't take, which you never know, man. You never know what hit is going to be the hit that messes your brain up, right? It could have also been just like the massive amount of dehydration she had to go through to get to her weight class, which is a question and a conversation she needs to have with her guys later on. The other one was, I can't remember his name, but he passed out like before the fight started. Like right before he was supposed to go on stage, he fainted. Going to the octagon, he fainted in the locker room. So that happened. Ben Spicely, whatever name I messed up or butchered, he missed weight like badly, and they cut him. They cut him Monday after he missed weight because it was like the second time he had done it. So that and the title fight was nice. Derek Brunson got a win versus Chimaev, who is a really talented guy, but I mean, Martin, you saw what happened. Derek Brunson tuned that kid up.
Oh yeah, you could tell who, like in that fight, which was. It was weird thinking. Obviously it was supposed to be Holly Holm, but having a 3-round main event was a little.
Yeah, we saw that and we were like, "What the hell's going on?" And by the way, if you're wondering why they couldn't make it 5 rounds, it's because the fighters signed a contract to fight a 3-round fight, and they cannot change it. Yep. According to the Nevada State Commission, approved them for 3 rounds, not 5.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, unfortunately, it was just a weak card, and from not. I mean, from outside,
The
not from the
drama
fights.
of losing 8 fights
Yeah,
definitely gave it something interesting because it sparked this conversation about like weight cuts. It sparked the conversation because
Yeah.
some of them, one of the fights was lost because of a late diagnosis of COVID-19 from GM3, who had fought earlier in quarantine. It was a Gerald Smearshart or
Yeah.
Shormert.
Yep.
I butcher his name all the time. His nickname is GM3. He caught COVID-19. Hopefully he's all right, man. And hopefully he's gonna be all right. And hopefully his family is all right as well. But it sparked this conversation about like Dana White talking about like, look, I did it, ha ha ha. Look at all these dweebs who think they can take me down, kind of deal.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. It was a weird vibe because luckily the Lakers were playing at the same time, so my friends and I just changed the channel. I was like, oh, they lost 2 fights in a row just now.
Yeah.
So we can change the channel and watch the Lakers game.
And that was the worst part because this past weekend was when every sport was back, basically. And
Yeah.
the UFC obviously has had a lot of success while there was no sports on. And then the first weekend where everything, like 4 sports are from choosing, you're just dropping fights left and right. Like, oh my God, like it couldn't have happened at a worse card for like viewership probably. I mean, I still watched it, I still tuned in, but I know for a fact every time they put the report, I can't even remember the reporter they had coming up saying, "Yep, this fight's canceled. Breaking news: so and so was walking to the ring and fainted." It's like,
no offense, I only know Megan O'Leary.
Oh yeah, Megan O'Leary.
Because I got a chance to meet her. And she followed me on Twitter.
Oh, nice.
So that's the only reason I know her. Yeah, her husband is Joseph Benavidez, so it was pretty bad for her 2 weeks ago when he got just wrecked by man, how do you say his name? Never mind. Anyway,
the Brazilian guy.
Yeah, the God of War.
David Figueroa or how?
Yeah, Dave Figueroa, who killed it, man. Congratulations to him. But it was sad because Joseph has been around for a long time. He was a nice guy according to everybody else, so I'm assuming that he is. And he went down in an ugly way. So glad he's all right though. Yeah. Other stuff, Martin. You got anything else?
Well, let's.
Oh, by the way, shout out to Bobby King Green. He got fight of the night.
Yeah, he did. He is. He's one of those fighters. I'm interested to see how he does going forward. But at the when we talk at the top of the show when we were talking about what's popping in quarantine with the NFL player opt-out deadline, I believe it's 66 players now total. I'm looking at the NFL. They just updated the list after the deadline, which was this afternoon. 66 players total have decided that they just don't want to play during a pandemic, and guess what? It's totally fucking fine for them to do that. Like I'm honestly surprised. I thought it would be closer to 100 than it would be to 50. If you were gonna like ask me to bet, or like if you were gonna give me a prop bet, like if Thrive Fantasy was gonna give us a prop bet, you can go on Google Play or the Apple Store, download Thrive Fantasy, use the code BROKEBOY. When you put $20 down, you'll get a bonus back. But if you would have given me a prop that said how many NFL players are going to opt out, 0 to 50, 50 to 100, or 100 plus, I probably would have went 100 plus because it just seemed that was the going trend, that more and more players were looking to opt out. But no, well, 66 still isn't a number to laugh at or anything like that, because they're obviously like,
it's supposed to be 1% of the league, right?
Yeah. And then I'm looking here. The NFL says almost, like we said earlier, almost half of the 66 players are linemen on either the offensive. It just, like we said at the top, like it's because they're going to be in the faces more often than the other ones. Some of the, what I'm going to go, like we've got a list here of like the most prominent players that are going to miss. I don't see it affecting fantasy football too much. Marquise Goodwin, Devin Funchess, those are probably the two biggest. Or Damian Williams, personally, is probably like the
playoff. Damian is very important, Martin.
Like he's probably the most important for that, because that's how I'm looking at it now. Like, yeah, the season's gonna have, like, I'm looking at things from a fantasy perspective. It's fucking August. Like, fantasy football season is
Yeah,
Literally,
I'm in an
right.
IDP. Unlike some of you losers out there, I play the best version of
Oh,
fantasy football, which involves IDPs,
oh, dude, IDP is the
individual
best.
defensive players.
Yep. CJ
So
Mosley, he single-handedly, I think, won me a couple of games one year.
that's why I shed a tear when Paul Posluszny retired, because he was a guaranteed layup in IDP leagues.
And Luke Kuechly as
So
well.
Luke Kuechly and Paul Posluszny, who are goddamn, I would love to have Paul on this podcast just so I can personally thank him for winning me many fantasy football games, because he's a beast for a really long time. He's always in like the top 5 of tackles in the NFL.
Like, real quick, real quick, the only championship I have in my main fantasy league is because of the IDPs. Like, the season that I won it, I fucking hit the nail on the head. What was the Browns have a line? Christian Kirksey. It was like his first year when he got like 200 tackles or something like that. Dude, like, I had him. God, I can't remember who else. I think I don't know if I had Luke Kuechly, but dude, I had 3 linebackers. Oh my God. There was one year I drafted JJ Watt in like the 5th round.
Yeah, JJ Watt is actually not useful in IDP leagues.
Not anymore, because Bill O'Brien won't throw him any touchdowns. Like, that was when I drafted. Exactly. I drafted JJ Watt expecting him to possibly catch a touchdown or 2 on offense, and that was the year Bill O'Brien was like, it's been so successful the past few seasons. I'm just not gonna do it at all this year.
You sound mad. You sound big mad right now.
Yeah, because I got made fun of for drafting an IDP in the top 10 rounds, dude. Like, you don't.
I will say this: like, in my league, the way sacks are weighted, because I'm the commissioner, so I make the rules. So the way sacks are weighted, they're not as important. But you have to have a defensive end, so why not go for a guy who could potentially go off for like double-digit sacks or whatever? But it's definitely like a race to get Aaron Donald. Every year.
We used to have that rule, but too many people complained about it because people would hoard like 3 defensive ends on their bench just so that nobody else could so it was kind of scummy, so we switched it to just IDPs, and now it's just linebackers and safeties because they get all the love. But Ashton, is this not I think you and I have talked about it, that the Patriots were going to tank this season for Trevor Lawrence, but
trying to get sunshine, baby. I thought it was I think the Jags are still leading the way, because with 6 dudes that are not showing up, because looking at the list, we got, not Nate Solder anymore. By the way, Nate Solder, big loss for the Giants. I feel like they're going to feel that. There's going to be one person that feels it a little bit more than others, and is the quarterback. Anyway, Nate Solder is a very good offensive lineman, and the Giants not having him, considering that their offensive line was already bad to begin with, not a great start. Devin Funchess is not going to be playing for the Packers this upcoming season, which because we are fans of Hakeem Butler, because we knew him when he was in high school and have been watching him this whole time, we are fans of Alan Lazard, who is one of his Iowa State teammates. And Devin Funchess not playing could open up Alan Lazard's ability to get more reps on the field. So
imagine, real quick, Ashton, while you brought up Hakeem Butler, imagine being in the wide receiver room in Arizona as Hakeem Butler coming back from his injury, technically still a rookie. You got Larry, now you got DeAndre, and you got Christian Kirk in that locker room with you, dude. Like, talk about like striking gold, or like a perfect scenario.
If Christian Kirk is good.
What?
So, still wondering if Christian Kirk is good.
Oh my God, Christian Kirk's good.
What a bold take. All right. Well, I'll be sure to remember that.
Sorry, I took a drink of a beer as I took that, so I couldn't really talk while I was to expand on it. But Christian Kirk, he is obviously probably the one hurt the most by DeAndre Hopkins coming in. But it's gonna be I'm gonna be low key an Arizona fan this year, because we got Cliff in the air raid offense. You've got Kyler year 2. You got Larry Fitzgerald. And then the best wide receiver in the league, and DeAndre Hopkins going out there. So, dude, I can't wait to be an Arizona Cardinal fan this year. That's
they're Texas as fuck in Arizona, because Kelly Oubre, well, not Kelly Oubre Jr. anymore, but Josh Jones is on that team too. Yep. So anyway, Josh Jones, greatest Texas high school football quarterback of all time, Kyler Murray, combined with Hakeem Butler, who is not from Houston but spent most of his adolescence, his teenage years here in Texas. DeAndre Hopkins, one one of the most iconic wide receivers in the history of the franchise, Christian Kirk, who went to Texas A&M. And did I miss anyone?
No.
I
I think that all we've got left is Do we have any nicknames to pick for this weekend's UFC fights?
Yeah, man. Hold on. I got to pull this one up here. But yeah, this upcoming week, I will tell you that I can already tell you who Martin's going to pick in the main event because H-Town hold it down.
Hell yeah.
I'd never bet against the Black Beast. So we will have to go. And there's actual nicknames in the title fight. So that's nice. We'll start here from the top, man. I'm sorry. We'll start from the bottom. We got. Oh, sorry. Clicked the wrong thing. We got. Oh, look at this one. Erwin the Beast Rivera. So his gym is called Combat Club with a C. Well, combat is spelled with a C. I don't know why I just said that. He's from New York. He's 31 years old, 5'6". Dude is 9-5. He's got 5 knockouts, so he's pretty decent. But remember, if you are just joining us here for the first time ever on the Broke Boy Sports Podcast, every single weekend there is some sort of UFC event, and for that, we make sure that you have some legit picks because now the nickname picks are up to 15-8 overall in the nickname selection game so far. We pick winners for fights. Martin will typically go like 4 or 5, depending on how many good nicknames are in the card. And he will pick the winners solely based off how dope their nicknames are. And it's pretty accurate. Dude, you'd make a lot of money.
Yeah, I'm telling you, a nickname makes 50% of a fight. Like it's not something to ignore, look over. Obviously, we get a couple wrong every now and then, but you know, there's a reason the other person on the side acting on gets paid their check too. You know,
that's what I'm saying. There's two. Last week we were 2-1 with the nickname picks. This week we have, and I want to say this guy's a Brit. Hold on. No, he's from Jordan. Never mind. He's from Jordan. Ali, the Royal Fighter Alakais. So shout out to him. He needs to work on that tan a little bit. We move on. We have Peter. This is a good one. Peter Slippery Pete Barrett.
Ooh, okay.
He's from Massachusetts, from Plymouth, Massachusetts. Wait, what? He's from Plymouth. He's also Muay Thai. He fights out of Sitonyong, which is the famous Muay Thai gym. But he fights out of Sitonyong in Boston, so like their branch gym out. He's 11-3, got 7 TKOs. So he's pretty decent. This is actually a familiar name, Martin. Yusuf, he fought in quarantine. Yusuf the Moroccan Devil Zalal.
Nice. The Moroccan Devil.
Yeah, he fights out of Factory X. He's from Inglewood, Colorado. 9-2. He's got 5 submission wins, so he's pretty good. Justin Guitar Hero Janus.
Nice.
Which, by the way, he's fought in quarantine as well. This is his second fight in quarantine. He's from Vegas, so he won't have too far to go.
Yep.
So Justin Guitar Hero Janus, 16-4, 5 submissions, 8 knockouts, 16-4 on his record. Gavin, the Newfoundland Terror Tucker.
The Newfoundland
I'll let you guess where he's from.
Terror.
I'll let you guess where he's from. He's from Ship Cove, Newfoundland, Canada. Yes, he is. He fights out of Titans MMA, which they used to be cool back in the day. I think they were one of the gyms for that MTV MMA show back in the day.
Yeah.
Anyway, 11-1, 5 submissions, 4 TKOs, 2 decision wins. 11-1, lost off a decision. Not a fan. He's not a fan of decisions. We move on. This is just Wilmington Turum. He does not have a nickname. He is from Brazil, though. He's 16-3. He is fighting Andrew Eldurte Sanchez. I don't want to just assume Eldurte means the dirt, but he does fight out of TriStar. He's 32. He fights out of TriStar. You got to look it up, Martin. What does Eldurte mean?
How do you spell it?
It's ELDIRTE. It's dirt with an E, meaning on this one. He's 11-5 with 5 TKOs in his career win.
Yeah, just dirt. It means dirty.
Dirty. All right, so Andrew. Oh my God! Oh my God! It's Dirty Sanchez.
I'm glad we noticed that at the exact. Dirty Sanchez.
All right. That's next level. I like it. Andrew El Dirty Sanchez, or as we will call him, Andrew Dirty Sanchez. If you don't know what a Dirty Sanchez is,
Don't
look it
at
up.
work.
Make sure nobody else. Look it up. Make sure nobody else is in the room.
Don't do it on your work computer. Don't do it around in public. Just go to Urban Dictionary first.
Urban Dictionary. This next guy, Andrew Munoz. We have to Alex Munoz. We have to root for him. He is from Texas. He's Team Alpha Male, Martin.
Okay.
So actually goes to a pretty good gym. He's from Texas, but #fuck Dallas. He's from Dallas. So
make an exception, unless he's fighting somebody from like Dagestan or something.
I'm just saying he's 6-0.
Hmm?
He's undefeated. Two TKOs, 3 decisions. So Alex Munoz. And you said Dagestan. Hold on. What's this? Oh my gosh, so close. This guy is from. I think I've heard this before. Kandahar, Afghanistan. Okay. He fights out of TriStar. He's a TriStar guy. Nazarat Haprast. 11-3. He's got 9 TKOs in those 11 wins he's got. So he's pretty good. He's a pretty nasty guy. Next up here, we got a familiar name, Kevin the Trailblazer Holland.
I think, didn't we go with him once?
He's from Dallas. I think his fight got rescheduled because he was the dude that fainted last week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's the dude that fainted last week in the locker room before the fight started. So he's 17-5. He's back again, and his nickname is the Trailblazer. So hopefully he's going to be actually fighting this upcoming week. He's fighting a guy by the name of Joaquin Numansa Buckley.
Oh, it was – or sorry, I clicked on Kevin Holland's name real quick. He was – the guy he was fighting fainted. That's okay.
So the guy from Houston.
Trevin Giles fainted.
Yeah, the Houston guy fainted. He's from Fort Worth.
Yeah.
This guy he's fighting, his name is Joaquin Numansa Buckley. I want to say I know what this means, but Martin's going to look it up. Joaquin is 26 from St. Louis, Missouri. He's 10-2. Got 7 TKOs.
Dude, that's going to be a good fight.
We'll see, man. What you figure out what Numansa means? He's a Bellator fighter, so.
You got to spell that one.
Numansa, M-A-N-S-A.
M-A-N-S-A. Meek.
Meat?
Meek. M-E-E-K.
Oh, new Meek. What? Meek? That's weird. I don't think that one's going to be selected. That's my personal opinion.
It means quiet, gentle, and easily imposed on. Submissive. Why would you make your nickname easily imposed on? What the fuck?
I feel like that has another translation.
Yeah, there's got to be a different name.
We got Tim Means. He's a familiar name.
Yeah.
Tim the Dirty Bird Means, if you don't know him. He has a stomach tattoo, which almost is always a poor decision. He is from Albuquerque, New Mexico, though. So he's and by the way, Tim Means has been around for so long. He's going for his 30th win in this one, Martin. 29-12, 19 knockouts in those 29 wins.
Yep.
So Tim Means fighting Loreno El Matador Staropolo.
El Matador.
El Matador means the killer.
I feel like there's been too many. There's got to be somebody else that's got the El Matador.
Unless you can think of it on the top of your head, I feel like we should let it pass in terms of the rule. One of the rules, by the way, one of the rules for the nickname game is you can't have a nickname of another prominent athlete.
Yeah.
So we don't let that fly. We don't let that one slide. But he is a shoot the box guy. Shoot the box Diego Lima. That's his gym he's associated with. 9-2. He's got 5 TKOs. Going up against a guy with 29 wins underneath his belt. Tim Means, really good fighter, going for his 30th win. So good luck on that one. This is Benil Darush. He does not have a nickname. He is from California, Yorba Linda, California. Never heard of that. He fights out of Kings MMA, which I have heard of. This is Scott Hot Sauce Holtzman.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, he's from Knoxville, Tennessee. By the way, there was a guy from, what's the town where Jack Daniels is made?
Oh,
is it Lynchburg? There you go. Right? Yeah, it was a guy from Lynchburg, and he got kicked in the nuts like twice. I felt pretty bad for him. He got like the guy he was fighting is clearly like a kickboxer.
Yeah.
And he was going for the inside thigh kick, and he just kept going like right towards his groin every time. Even when he moved, it was still hitting him. This young lady is from Lithuania, Kaunas, Lithuania. She does not have a nickname. It is Julia Stolorenko. Shout out to her. She's a fighter at a Fighter House, which is, I guess, a cool gym name. I can't tell if it's just like really corny or really cool. She's got 8 submission wins, so we know what her steal is. Yep. Her steez. She's 9-3. She's got 2 draws somehow. So that's really rare that you find a fighter with 2 draws who's only got like less than 15 fights. Yep. This is a good one. Yana Foxy Kuniatsa. Yana Foxy Kuniatsa. And Martin, she is from a place called Murmansk, Russia. I have no idea where that is.
Yeah.
12-5 so far. 7 TKOs, 1 submission, 4 decisions. She fights for Team Marietta. I've never heard of that gym either. So shout out to her, Yana Foxy Kuniatska.
How tall is she?
She is 5'8". She's 5'8".
She doesn't look, or she looks like 6'5" in these pictures that I see right now.
She could be fighting girls who are like 5'3".
Oh, she's fought Cyborg at point.
Well, I know what one of those 5 losses is now. So she's a bantamweight fighter. That's probably why she looks so much taller. Also, she's coming back from a knee injury back in like June. So shout out to her recovering in quarantine, because I know rehab's harder than usual. Getting in and out of the gym all the time, or getting in and out of the facility all the time. So shout out to her. This is Darren the Dentist Stewart, who's from London. One of your guys.
Darren the Dentist?
Yeah, Darren the Dentist Stewart.
Okay.
29 years old. He's from London. He's a London lad. 7 TKOs, no submissions, 1 by 4 decision. He does have 5 losses, and he has a no contest for some reason. Mm-hmm. I don't know what that's about. I was trying to look up the no contest, and there's never like an explanation of why it was ruled a no contest, so I just have given up on it. This is a familiar name. Maki Coconut Bombs. Ooh. Pitolo. Yeah, from early in quarantine, we had this guy on here. He is from Hawaii, so he's not appropriating any kind of culture. But yeah, his gym is West Oahu MMA. Shout out to them. Out there getting it done on the island. 13-5, 7 TKOs, 3 submissions, 3 decisions. He's got 5 losses. Coconut Bombs with a Z on the end of bombs.
Okay.
He has a mana tattoo, a mana tattoo, if you know what that means. He has one on his right arm. I can't tell if it's like actual stick, like actual sticking of the person type tattoo where they do like the little tap thing.
Oh yeah.
But he also has a tattoo that goes directly over his nipple, which is an awkward place to get a tattoo. That's all I'm trying to make a point of. Maki Pitolo going out here trying to get that win. So shout out to him on that one. He's back again out of quarantine to get another fight. And this is the co-main event, Omari Wolverine Akhmedov. I know where he is from.
Was it Dagestan?
Yes. He is from Dagestan, and he is fighting Chris the All-American Weidman. This is basically Rocky versus Drago.
Yeah, I was about to say this. There's more on the line than just a paycheck for this one. You know what I'm saying?
This is for the soul of America. Chris the All-American Weidman fighting Omari the Wolverine Akhmedov, who is from, in fact, Dagestan, and he is also a member of American Top Team. 20-4, 1 draw. I don't know what happened to those 4 people he lost to. I'm assuming they are no longer with us. Chris Weidman, one of the best fighters of our time, Martin, 14-5. At one point, a legit title contender. Coming off 2 losses. He lost to Ronaldo Sua, lost to Dominic Reyes. No shame in that. His last win was versus Kevin Gastelum, and I have a friend who's going to be very frustrated about that. He's lost to Gegard Mousasi, Yoel Romero, Luke Rockhold. He's 1-5 in his last 6 fights.
Who's that? Weldman? Or
this is Weidman. Yeah, Chris Weidman.
Wow.
He's New York as fuck, bro. Chris Weidman.
You said
follow
1-5?
He's 1-5 in his last 5 fights.
Dude,
last 6 fights.
That is not a good stat to have when you
decide. In opposition,
Is Amari on like a 10-fight win streak or something?
Omari is on technically, he is 5-0-1 in his last 6 fights.
Wow.
He has a tie on here, a majority tie versus a man named Marvin Vittori. I've never seen him fight. But yeah, he's beaten Zach Cummings, which is a guy that I actually know. So I'm not too happy about that guy. Hopefully when I post this on my Facebook page, Zach doesn't say anything. Mm-hmm. But this guy's got to be pretty good to beat Zach Cummings. I've sparred with him once or twice. It was pretty cool. He's much better than I am. So anyway, Chris Weidman versus Omari Akabedov, who is from Dagestan, and I'm assuming we all know how that fight's going to go, so I'm just going to move on. Derek Lewis, or as everybody in H-Town knows him, the Black Beast. Black Beast Lewis, straight out of H-Town. His gym is the Grindhouse. 6'3", 264 pounds, 23 wins, 7 losses, 18 TKOs in those 23 wins, ladies and gentlemen. His birthday was in the beginning of quarantine, February 7th. He is going up against another deadly man, Alexei the Boa Constrictor Oleinik. Very dangerous man from Moscow, Russia. 6'2", 235. 59 wins, Martin.
Yeah, this guy loves to fight.
He is also the exact opposite of Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis's ground game is pretty bad. Alexei Oleinik has 46 submissions. Yeah. And his 59 wins.
It's crazy. And wasn't his last one? Who did he fight last? Fabricio. Back in May. He
fought Fabricio. He's fought Maurice Green.
Oh yeah, it was the Maurice Green that he got submissioned.
Yeah, Maurice Green, who a guy who lost earlier this year, got a chance to fight again in quarantine and basically revived his career at heavyweight. He beat a guy who kind of like folded over, like he beat him down to the point where one punch just kind of knocked him out. And Maurice, who is the crochet master, is that what it is?
Yeah,
the crochet.
It was something like that. Yeah.
Crochet master Green. He actually broke down and started crying because he had revitalized his career. He got on like a 2-fight win streak, I think it was. Yeah. So he fought on that Cerrone McGregor card back in the day. But the last time Alexei Oleinik lost was Walt Harris, who, if sad to say, the most prominent thing about Walt Harris is that his daughter was found murdered and mutilated a couple months ago. Actually, I just remembered that, and wow, that's really sad.
Yeah.
So, and he also lost to Alistair Overeem. No shame there. He's lost to Curtis Blades as well.
Yeah. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I've got 14 names here that I need to cut down, Ashton.
And as you do that, I will do what I need to be doing more regularly in going and checking to see if any of these fights have been canceled.
No, they take it from they take them away from my list, so we're good.
Yeah, I have it on SureDog and stuff, but like sometimes, like there was the Madman Medusa, Madaku, he got his fight canceled while we were doing the podcast last week.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it was like right after we finished. I saw it on Twitter, and I was like, "Oh wow, that's weird." We also found out that Darren Till has veneers.
Oh yeah. He said he's only got like one tooth that's his or whatever.
Yeah, and hey, mad respect to him. If he got that kind of money to put veneers in, that's what's going on. It's a good move because at the end of the day, they're gonna stay pearly whites forever.
Yeah. All right. So I've got 3 that I know for sure. Actually that's 4 that I know for sure. I'm not gonna do him. No.
Ben Henderson is fighting tomorrow. That is crazy.
Right. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Israel Adesanya has changed. Israel Adesanya, the last style bender, and the champ right now, has pink hair now.
Of course. All right. I have narrowed my list down, and I will say that I like both nicknames in the Maki Pitolo and Darren Stewart fight, but
Coconut Bombs versus the Dentist.
I'm not going to pick that fight because I don't pick against my own countrymen, because I I probably would have picked Maki because of the coconut bombs, but I'm just putting it out there. I'm not picking that fight, even though I like both of their nicknames. So here it goes. We've got 2 from the prelims and 3 from the main event. Starting from the bottom, Justin Guitar Hero Janes. Then we've got
many hours lost on Guitar Hero.
Oh, for sure. Let me just make sure they're not fighting the cut. Then we've got where did he go? Where did the Scott fight go? Oh, he's on the main. Okay, it's only 1 from the undercard and 4 from the main card. All right.
Okay, then there you go.
Scott Hot Sauce Holtzman. That's one of my favorite ones we've had.
I'm gonna try and see if I can get like fire, like to get the words to be like the super corny. Man, what's his name? Oh my god, the mayor of Flavortown.
Oh, Guy Fieri.
Yes, I'm gonna try and get those Guy Fieri flames.
Great. Also, we're going with Yana Foxy Kunitskaya.
There you go.
We're gonna be riding with Foxy. Omari Wolverine Akhmedov.
You're going for the easy one?
I'm going for the Russian over Mr. All-American because that's a lame name. And then in the main event, as we always do, we stick with our hometown boys. We going with Derek the Black Beast Lewis, and that is going to round out my 5 picks for this weekend's card.
To qualify your statement, Chris Weidman actually is a wrestling All-American. So, I'm just saying. Everybody else is trying to pretend to be their nickname. Chris Weidman actually is an All-American. But I'm totally fine with you picking against him. I don't care for Chris Weidman all that much. Very talented fighter. The person, I've heard some things like in interviews that I'm just kind of like, that's a weird thing for you to say as a person. Anyway, but yeah, there you go, man. Run through them one more time.
All right, one more time from the bottom. Justin Guitar Hero Janes, Scott Hot Sauce Holtzman, Yana Foxy Kunitskaya, Omari Wolverine Akhmedov, and Derek the Black Beast Lewis. And that is going to put another episode in the books for us, Ashton. We got to give a shout out to Mr. Mike Sykes, the second, for coming on here, giving us a little breakdown of the NBA action and talking about some fresh kicks, some stylish kicks. If you want to go check out,
no doubt, had a great conversation about sneaker culture. Had a great conversation about the Wizards and everything going on in the Washington area. He used to cover the Washington area for SB Nation. He now works for the Win. So give them a follow and give him a follow as well. Sign up for his newsletter, The Kicks We Wear. And you can also hop in on the Twitter thread on The Kicks We Wear. It's every single Thursday. You take a picture of your with your dope kicks on, and typically he quote tweets it and kind of like pumps it up, you know what I mean, and shows it off on the newsletter. So check it out.
Yep, and then broke down the NBA. We had what's popping this week: the NFL player opting out and people reacting to it. Best of the best. Flynn Family Foundation installing a well in Tanzania. Amanda Nunes being ranked number 1 in UFC 4. Worst of the worst: Colorado State University and their COVID-19 accusations. Anything else you want to mention, Ashton? We're another great episode.
Follow us on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter, FB_playbook. Follow me on Instagram at the Ashton Forever. Follow Martin on Twitter at Martyn Pape. MartynPape _ at the end of it all. Also check out Martin's Twitch channel. He's been hitting the gaming pretty hard lately. Luckily now his internet's back up so he can actually stream like right after this broadcast is over. And on top of that, it's Chrome. Tell him how to spell it, Martin. Tell him where to find you, man.
Twitch.tv/Chrome. If you want to watch us as we do each podcast, it's twitch.tv/RogueBoysSports. And you can find us on the YouTube. Got to get the boomer in there. The YouTube, like the Facebook. The YouTube. Catch us on there. YouTube. Well, this week, unfortunately, we'll start from when I got into the call. So probably about, what do you say, 20, 30 minutes of Mike's interview.
Yeah, you'll catch the NBA breakdown, and then everything else will be normal after that. Other than that, make sure you download the Thrive Fantasy app and use the promo code BrokeBoy. If you put at least $20 in, they will give you $20 back. and you will have $40 to bet with esports and professional sports across the board. That's all I got, man. You got anything else, Martin, or we out?
No, that is it. Thank you. See y'all next week.
There is only one thing left to say. Stay home, Roger.